Welcome to the Mystery Box. In the heart of Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, there's a place that almost defies explanation: Baalbek. For thousands of years, it's been one of the world's great mysteries, home to some of the largest and most magnificent Roman temples ever built. But it's what lies beneath them that has puzzled engineers and archaeologists for generations. We've all heard about the giant stones of Baalbek, but what if the greatest mystery isn't how they were moved, but what was buried under them for millennia? For years, people have argued about one big thing. How did the Romans lift the gigantic stones called the trilithon? These are 3 huge blocks, and each one weighs about 800 tons. They fit together so perfectly, you can't even slide paper between them. But maybe by asking how all the time, we've missed a bigger question. Archaeologists have been digging around and found something that changes the whole story. It shows that Baalbek's story started way before the Romans ever showed up. To understand why the new discovery is so cool, you have to know just how big this puzzle is. The Temple of Jupiter at Baalbek is built on a platform made of some of the biggest carved stones in the world. The most famous ones are the trilithon stones, and each one weighs as much as 3 giant airplanes. And those aren't even the biggest stones there. Nearby, in the place where they cut the stone, is the famous Stone of the Pregnant Woman. For a long time, people thought this 1,000-ton stone was the biggest one ever cut in ancient times. The story everyone tells is that the Romans did all this work, but there's a problem with that story. The Romans wrote everything down, but there are 0 Roman books or papers that talk about how they moved these giant stones. That's super weird. How could they do something so amazing and not write about it? This made some people think that maybe the Romans didn't build the platform at all, but just built their temple on top of something that was already there. For a long time, not many people believed that idea, but now, clues from the ground are telling a new story. The first big clue that something was missing popped up in 2014. A team of archaeologists found something amazing in the stone quarry. Right next to the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, they found another stone that was even bigger. This new stone weighs a crazy 1,650 tons. This showed that the builders were planning something even bigger than we knew. So why didn't they move it? They think the stone might have had a crack in it that would have made it break. But the really big discoveries were back at the temple. Archaeologists started digging deep, way down below the Roman floor, and they found proof of people living there much earlier. They found old pottery and bones from hundreds of years before the Romans. This proved that the big Roman temples were built right on top of an old town, a place where people had been living for a very long time. This spot wasn't just a place to build, it was a special, holy place for a long time. This is the discovery that changes how we see Baalbek. So, what does this all mean? For a long time, people thought it was one of 2 things. Either the Romans built everything, or maybe some super advanced lost civilization did it. But this new discovery points to a third idea, one that's way more interesting. Finding all this older stuff doesn't mean an unknown civilization built the giant platform. Most experts still think the Romans and their amazing building skills did the heavy lifting, but knowing that Baalbek was a holy place for thousands of years before they got there changes the whole story. The Romans didn't just pick a random spot. They chose this place for a reason. They weren't just building a temple. They were sending a message. by building their biggest, most amazing temple on top of a spot that was special to other groups for ages. They were basically saying, your history is our history now. This changes everything, because the question isn't just how did they move the stones? Now the question is, why did they use so much energy and so many resources on this one special ancient place? It's not just a building puzzle anymore. It's a story about different people and their beliefs, all in one spot. The Romans just wrote the biggest, fanciest, final chapter in a very old book. But even with all these new clues, the main mystery is still there. We still don't really get how they did it. The science behind it is just mind-blowing. The good news for them was that the quarry was a little bit uphill from the temple, so they didn't have to lift the blocks up a hill. People guess that the Romans used tons of workers, big logs to roll the stones, and giant ramps, but those are just guesses. Nobody knows for sure how you move and place a 1,650-ton stone. Even our best cranes today would have a hard time lifting that much weight. What kind of people are so confident that they can work with 800-ton stones and then decide to try for ones that are twice as big? The mystery of how they did it at Baalbek is as big as it ever was. The story of Baalbek is definitely not finished. Every time someone digs, they find another piece of a story that's older and cooler than we thought. It just shows that we are always learning new things about the past. So what do you think? Does knowing the spot was ancient make what the Romans did more mysterious or less? Tell us what you think in the comments. And if you want to explore more of the world's biggest mysteries with us, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Baalbek isn't just a pile of old Roman rocks. It's like a history book made of stone. It's a spot where old towns, ancient religions, and the super powerful Roman Empire all came together on one special hill. These new discoveries give us a whole new way to look at it. They show that the Romans didn't start the story of Baalbek, they just added the biggest and flashiest chapter to a story that was already being told. The giant stones aren't just a symbol of how strong the Romans were, but also of how special this place has been to people for thousands of years. Baalbek has kept its secrets for a long time, and it seems like it's only just starting to tell us the truth.